I would like to announce that I am just appointing Maulana Afthab Cassim as a wakil. In my absence, he can make you breathe.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Inna Allah wa malaikatahu yusalluna ala nabi. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu sallu alayhi wa sallimu taslima. Allahumma salli ala sayyidina wa nabiyyina Maulana Muhammadin wa ala ali sayyidina Maulana Muhammadin ma'adin al-judi wal karam wa alihi al-kiram wa ibn al-karim wa barik wa sallim sallu alayhi. Salatu wa salaman alayka ya sayyidi ya sanadi ya habibi ya tabibi ya Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam wa ala alika wa ashabika ya rahmatan lil alamin. Nahmaduhu wa nusalli wa nusallimu ala rasulihil kareem amma ba'd fa'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu taqullaha wa kunu ma'as sadiqin. Sadaqallahu al-azim wa ballaghana rasuluhu an-nabiyyul aminul makinul kareem. Wa nahnu ala dhalika minash shahidin wa shakirin walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Gawth Al-Azam bamane besaron sama madade qibla di madade Kaaba ima madade Qadiriyam na araye ya Gawth Al-Azam mizanam damz Sheikh Ahmad Raza Khan Qutb Alam mizanam Sayyidi ya Murshidi Shah Mustafa Khan zindabad maslake sarkar ala Hadrat zindabad ya ilahi maslake Ahmad Raza Khan zindabad हिफ्ज़ नामों से रिसालत का जो जिम्मेदार है सैयदी या मुर्शदी शाह मुस्तफ़ा खां जिंदाबाद हामिल फैज़ रज़ाए मुस्तफ़ा इमदाद कुन सल्लल्लाहु अला नबील उम्मी व आलिहि सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम सलातुन व सलामुन अलैका या सैयदी या सनदी या हबीबी या तबीबी या रसूलुल्लाह सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम व अला आलिका व अस्हाबिका या रहमतल लिल आलमीन. All praise due to Almighty Allah. Durood and salams upon the most perfect, exalted and glorified of Allah's creation, Sayyiduna wa Maulana Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Peace, blessings and salutations upon the Anbiya Ikram, Ahle Bayt Athhar, Sahaba Ikram, Khulafa Rashidin, Tabain, Tabain, Aimma Mujtahidin, Awliya Kamilin, and all those who will follow the path until the last day. We thank Almighty Allah through His infinite mercy and through the wasila of Rasul Akram Nur Mujassam sallallahu alaihi wasallam for blessing us with the opportunity to congregate during these auspicious nights of Gyarwi Sharif and to remember him and his beloved Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam and to pay tribute to the pious servants of Allah, especially to the pious amongst the pious, Imam al-Awliya Hazrat Sayyidina Shaykh Al-Qaadiri Al-Jilani Al-Baghdadi radiyallahu ta'ala. And before I continue with today's discussion, I'm going to request everybody to make special dua for Huzur Sayyidi Muhaddis Kabir. Hazrat has been not well from this morning. He's been very, very weak, and his health has not been as good as expected over the last morning, and this evening was a bit better. But dua is requested. Let us all make dua in the court of Almighty Allah through the sadqa of Rasul Pak sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that Almighty Allah grants shifa to Huzur Sayyidi Muhaddis Kabir and gives Hazrat long life, and may His Saya Karam be over us for a long, long time. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala remove all his illnesses, and may Almighty Allah keep his fuyuz of barakat with us and grant him speedy recovery and very, very long life, so that we may be at his feet for always. Ameen ya Rabbal Alameen. Durood Sharif. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina wa Nabiyana Maulana Muhammad wa ala ali Sayyidina Maulana Muhammadin wa ashabihi wa barik sallim sallu alayhi salatu wa salamun alayka ya Sayyidi Ya sanadi ya habibi ya tabibi ya Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam wa ala alika wa ashabika ya rahmatan lil alamin. Ala Hadrat Azimul Barakat Mujaddid Din wa Millat Parwana Sham Risalat Shah Imam Ahmad Raza Khan Fazle Barilvi radiyallahu anhu's share that I've been explaining and trying to connect to the Qasida Gawsiyya of Sarkar Gawse Pak radiyallahu anhu over the last 3 nights. I'm reciting that share again, and then I will join to that another share of Ala Hadrat radiyallahu anhu, which I will explain briefly tonight, and Allah willing tomorrow night. The share that we've been talking about, कि क्यों ना कासिम हो कि तू इब्ने अबिल कासिम है. Ya Shaykh Al-Qaadiri Jilani radiyallahu anhu, Ala Hadrat is saying, क्यों ना कासिम हो कि तू इब्ने अबिल कासिम है, क्यों ना कादिर हो कि मुख्तार है बाबा तेरा. In other words, why shouldn't you distribute, why shouldn't you be distributor when you are the descendant, when you are the son of Abul Qasim the Exalted? In other words, Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wasallam. And why shouldn't you be regarded as a powerful personality and having ikhtiyar when your ancestor, when your forefather sallallahu alayhi wasallam is the legislator exalted? In other words, I discussed with you 2 days before and a little bit last night about the grand ikhtiyar which has been bestowed upon Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wasallam. Now, to further explain as we go on, so that we can discuss more the ash'ar of Qasida Gawthiyah. I'm not sure if we'll be able to finish all the ash'ar of Qasida Gawthiyah while explaining the shares of Ala Hadrat in these 11 days. I will try to see how far we go. But Ala Hadrat Adimul Barakat radhiyallahu anhu says something very important, a beautiful share. He says, Tujhse, he says to Gawth Pak, Tujhse aur dahr ke aqtab se nisbat kaisi? Tujhse aur dahr ke aqtab se nisbat kaisi? कुतुब खुद कौन है? खुद कौन है? खादिम तेरा चेला तेरा. Allahu Akbar. Now, what Ala Hadrat Adimul Barakat radiyallahu anhu is saying here, the first share that I read, I think you've understood by now. क्यों ना कासिम हो कि तू इब्ने अबिल कासिम है, क्यों ना कादिर हो कि मुख्तार है बाबा तेरा, because we've been talking about it. But here Ala Hadrat is saying, तुझसे और दहर के अक्ताब से निस्बत कैसी? खुद कौन है? खादिम है तेरा चेला तेरा. Ala Hadrat Adimul Barakat is saying, how can there be a companion between you and the earthly kutubs in reality? All these aktabs that we have been talking about. Ala Hadrat is saying to Gawth Pak, how can there be a comparison between you and them? Who are they and who are you? They are aktabs, yes, they are very great, they are very blessed. But Ala Hadrat Azimul Barakat is saying, Tudse aur dahr ki kutub se nisbat kaisi? How can we even give some comparison? He says, khud kaun hai? He says, who is the qutub? Khadim tera, chela tera. He said that qutub, the one who is a qutub, who has reached this high and elite level in the kingdom of wilayah. Sarkar Gawth Pak saying, who is this qutub? Who is he? He is your servant and your sincere devotee. He is your ghulam, he is your khadim. He is your murid, they are your murids. They are your khuddam. So by Ala Hadrat Adimul Barakat radhiyallahu anhu telling us this in the share, we can tie it to whatever we've been talking about. فَقُلْتُ لِسَائِلِ الْأَقْطَابِ لُمُّ بِحَالِي وَادْخُلُوا أَنْتُمْ رِجَالِي. When Gawth Pak radhiyallahu anhu said to all the aktabs that all of you come around me together. We were discussing a few days ago. And this state of Rohaniyat that I have entered into, and whatever is spilling out and splashing out of this vessel, you too come and take a share in it. I'm inviting you because I can see you want a share in this Rohaniyat. I'm recapping a little bit. You want a share in this Rohaniyat, so come and take it. فَقُلْتُ لِسَائِلِ الْأَقْطَابِ لُمُّ بِحَالِي وَادْخُلُوا أَنْتُمْ رِجَالِي. And then he said what? Gawth Pak said after that? He said, وَهُمْ وَاشْرَبُوا أَنْتُمْ جُنُودِي فَسَاقِي الْقَوْمِ بِالْوَافِ مَلَالِ. Sarkar Gawth Pak then said, when he saw that the Qutubs wanted, we were talking about this, but they were afraid, in inverted commas. The khawf ilahi, that this is the drink of the sharabi wisal in the court of Allah. That when you have this and when you drown yourself in this, you become closer in the court of Allah. But this is so powerful, can we withstand it and bear it? So Gawth Pak said to them, وَهُمْ وَاشْرَبُوا أَنْتُمْ جُنُودِي. Be brave, be courageous now, make himmat, and come drink all of you. You are my army. You belong to me. When Al-Qaadiri is saying drink, drink, there's nothing to worry about. Because my Aqa sallallahu alayhi wasallam fasaqil qawmi, my Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam is the patron and the cupbearer of this qawm of awliya and the entire nation. Bilwafi Malali, and the beloved Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam has given me this target to give you. Come, the brief explanation we were talking about. So Ala Hadrat Adimul Barakat radhiyallahu anhu is saying that What comparison? How are you going to say that Gawth Pak and the Afthab? No. Gawth Pak is by himself. His level is beyond anybody else. The Afthab are the Khuddam of the court of Gawth Pak. When they got this maqam, they got it because of Sarkar-e Gawth Pak radiallahu anhu. What I told you yesterday, I think we discussed this briefly, last night's discussion. Sharibtum fudlati min ba'di sukri wala niltum uluwi wattisali. Sarkar-e Gawth Pak radiallahu anhu is saying, you drank from whatever I left. We talked about this last night. He said to the awliya Allah, that whatever I left, you drank from it after I was satisfied spiritually. Now I want to make one point here, which I was going to do last night, it slipped my mind. When Gawth Pak radiallahu anhu says, Sharibtum fudlati min ba'di sukri, that you drank from whatever I left after I was satisfied spiritually, completely, I drank to my fill. It doesn't mean that whatever Allah through the sadaqah of Rasul Pak was giving Gawth Pak, he drank and he drank. In other words, he went as deep as he could and then he left, like example, without comparison. If I have a glass of water, I drink and then I leave a little bit because I can't finish it. I can't finish it. This is not the case here. That Gawth Pak couldn't finish what was being given to him. He drank and drank as much as he could and as much as he was given. He drank all of it. But that little he left intentionally because he knew there were those who wanted also from them. Samajh rahe baat? Like a Murshid Kamil. He eats something or he drinks something. He can finish it. He has already taken the barakat which was meant for him. But because he can see that there are murids there who want one little bit share in that thing, he leaves. So for understanding Sarkar-e Gawth Pak, when we say that Sharibtu fadlati min ba'di sukri, that when I reached the state of ruhaniyat, you drank from what I left after I was fully satisfied. It doesn't mean that Gawth Pak couldn't handle whatever came. Whatever is from the court of Allah, it was given to him because Al-Qaadiri was prepared for this here. Almighty Allah prepared the heart of Sarkar-e Gawth Pak through the sadaqah of Sarkar-e to Alam sallallahu alayhi wasallam. And then whatever Gawth Pak left from what I left, in other words, he left it. For who? For the other Aftabs, for those Aftab and those awliya and those Budurgan Din, all of them that we're yearning for it. And then he says, وَلَا نِلْتُمْ أُلُوِي وَاتِّصَالِي. He says, but still, you drank from what I left. Gawth Pak is saying, you drank from what I left. But you still can't reach my grand maqam. We talked about this last night a little bit. You cannot reach my grand height of eminent spirituality. And tonight I'm going to explain you why. Subhanallah. You know, you must, when we're discussing this kind of Ruhani topics, I'll teach myself, try to teach myself and teach you, that absorb yourself. Try to let your heart, you're not going to understand the depths, and I won't understand the depths. But try to drown your heart and your ears and your listening in this state, get to think that what is the maqam of that Shaykh Abdul Qadir Jilani radiallahu anhu, that after all the awliya drinking from what he left, he is still saying to them, look at this, he is making a declaration. He's making a declaration. He's not saying, I don't think you can reach my maqam. He's saying, وَلَا نِلْتُمْ أُلُوا وَاتِّصَالِ. You cannot come to my maqam. You will not be able to reach this maqam that I have been given from the court of Almighty Allah, this maqam of ruhaniyat. Now, regarding this, to understand that share and the share of Ala Hadrat that I just read to you now, about the kutubs of the Dahr, Sarkar-e Gawth Pak's next share in Qasida Gawsiyah Sharif you have to listen to. مقامكم العلا جمع ولكن مقامكم العلا جمع ولكن مقامي فوقكم ما زال آلي. Sarkar-e Gawth Pak, subhanallah. Sarkar-e Gawth Pak radiallahu anhu, after he's telling them, Sharibtum fadlati min ba'di sukri wa la niltum uluwi wattisali, after he's telling them this, that even I drank and I drank and I drank and then whatever I left, you took a share of it. And after all of you drinking that much, you still can't reach Abdul Qadir's maqam. You still can't reach my status. Then He emphasizes it in the next share of his qasida. He says, مَقَامُكُمُ الْأُولَى جَمْعًا وَلَكِنْ مَقَامِي فَوْقَكُمْ مَا زَالَ عَالِي شَك nahi is batin. What did he say? I'm translating. शक नहीं इस बात में है आली तुम्हारा मर्तबा. He's telling all that. शक नहीं इस बात में है आली तुम्हारा मर्तबा, पर मेरा तुम सबसे बढ़कर है हमेशा मर्तबा. पर मेरा तुम सबसे बढ़कर है हमेशा मर्तबा. Indeed, all of you have been given an exalted station. Indeed, all of you have been given an exalted station. But more exalted than all of you always is my station. Oh, Sarkar-e Gawth Pak radiallahu anhu is saying this. What is he meaning by this? Allahu Akbar. What is he meaning by this? That is why our Imam, Sarkar-e Ala Hadrat Azimul Barakat radiallahu anhu is saying, Tujhse aur dahr ke aktab se nisbat kaisi? How are you going to compare? Khud kaun hai? Who is the Qutub? Is Abdul Qadir Jilani? He is the Qutbul Aktab of all zamanas. But the Qutub under him is who? Qutb kaun hai? Who is he? Khadim hai tera, chela tera. Why? Sarkar-e Gawth Pak is telling you this. Maqamukumul ula jam'un walakin maqami fawqakum ma dhala ali. That Sarkar-e Gawth Azam Jilani is saying that indeed all of you have been given an exalted station, an exalted maqam. But more exalted than all of you always is Abdul Qadir's maqam. Is Abdul Qadir's station. Now, regarding this, if you look at it carefully, what is Gawth Pak saying? Gawth Pak is saying to all the Aftabs that indeed all of you have a very great, very exalted, very blessed maqam. But the maqam of Abdul Qadir, the station of Abdul Qadir, the position of Abdul Qadir, what position we talking about? What status we talking about? What excellence we talking about? In the dunya. Even in the dunya, his status is above them all. What are we talking about? What is he saying here? That maqamukum ula jam'u walakin maqami fawqakum ma zala ali. He's telling them that your status is great, your maqam is great, your fadilat is great. But my maqam, the maqam of Abdul Qadir, my station, my position in the court of Allah, in the qurb of Almighty Allah is far greater than all of you. It's a very powerful declaration. Now, what Sarkar-e Gawth Pak radiallahu anhu is saying here to all the Aftabs is a statement of excellence. The statement of Gawth Pak radiallahu anhu, I'm explaining simply so you understand, is a statement of excellence which is connected to that share which I just read for you. Sharibtum fadlati min ba'di sukri walaniltum uluwi wattisali. This statement of excellence, maqamukum ula jam'u walakin maqami fawqakum ma dhala ali, is connected to that one. Why? Because Gawth Pak is not talking to just anybody. He is addressing the Aftabs and saying to them, you must remember, you must understand this, that it's not me talking to you. It's not you talking to somebody else. It's Sarkar-e Gawth Pak talking to the most elite amongst the awliya. And he's telling them this, that my maqam is much higher than what you can even think about. It's further than you. And no matter how much you try, this maqam you're not going to reach. So Gawth Pak is in fact addressing the Aftabs and saying to them that I know very well, Abdul Qadir knows that you have sipped from the drink of love now. That sharabi wisal you have had already. I know now. And that sharabi wisal, the drink of love, the drink of nearness, Abdul Qadir Jilani is saying to the awliya that I know that you drank it because I'm the one who gave it. By the hukum of Allah, I know you drank it. And that too you drank which I left. That too you drank which I left. And to the barakat of which you drank through me, you have all received this great maqam of being Aftabs. You have received this great maqam. And this maqam is allowing you to progress. You know why they drank this? So that they can get qurba ilahi even more. So Gawth Pak is basically telling them that I know that after you drank this, you are ascending to greater heights. You're not where you were before I gave you the sharabi. You are now progressing. You are ascending to higher levels of the kingdom of wilayat. You are going to higher levels in the kingdom of wilayat. But he says, let it be known. Let it be known. And understand that you will never be able to reach the grand heights of Abdul Qadir Jilani. Even though you are continuing. Now once they had the Sharab-e-Muhabbat, they're going up. Their maqam is going higher and higher and higher, and they are ascending. Now, at this point I'm going to ask one question to myself and to you. This point which Sarkar-e-Gawth Pak is making, he's telling them, he's explaining to them that you cannot reach my maqam. Even though you drank this, even though you are Afthab, even though you reach this level. Why did Gawth Pak radiallahu anh say this to the Afthab, to this great awliya? Why did he say such a thing? He said this so that they may know that just as the Aftabs are excelling and passing great levels of wilayat, because of what they drank from the barga of Sarkar-e-Gawth Pak radiallahu anh, just as these awliya, Gawth Pak told them this so that they understand, just as they are excelling and progressing to different stages, likewise Gawth Pak is continuously excelling from where he was. Samajh rahe baat? Why can't they catch up with him? Because he is already at a maqam above all of them. And even though after they drank, they are excelling, but he is also excelling. Even though they are going higher, he is going even higher. So they will never be able to reach that maqam-e-wilayat of Sarkar-e-Gawth Pak, that Gawsiyat of Sarkar-e-Gawth Pak, because they're saying he is traversing the heights of excellence, and this is why they will never reach his maqam. For the more they climb, the higher he climbs. For the more they climb, samajh rahe baat, bahut pyari baat hai, if you really understand it. Okay? Because they are going because of him. And he says, don't think because you are going, you're going to reach where. I'm giving you for example. Okay, just to understand it. Level number 10, example. I'm just calling level number 10, level number 11 we'll call it. Okay? For barakah. And all the awliya Allah, the others were at level number 5. Example. Just for understanding. I want you to only understand. It's not as is I'm saying, it's just an explanation. When Gawth Pak blessed them with this ruhaniyat, from 5 they started to move. 6, 7, 8. So he says, don't think you're going to come to 11. Because by the time you come to 11, Abdul Qadir is at 1100. Samajh rahe baat? This is what he's trying to actually tell them. That no matter how much you come, you will not be able to reach where Abdul Qadir is going. You will not be able to reach that qurb which Allah has given him. Now, if you want to understand this better, right? Today I'm going to give a little bit of simple explanations to explain so you understand properly. And you'll understand the whole discussion, what I've been talking about up to today, with this one explanation today. See, if you take a normal murid, you and I, no matter how high he goes, no matter how great an abid and a zahid he may be, a murid, right? If his murshid kamil, if he has a murshid kamil, in other words, a murid, a normal murid, he is excelling and he is going higher in ruhaniyat, he is becoming an abid and a zahid, and he has a murshid kamil, he cannot reach the level of his sheikh. He will remain a murid. He may be a sheikh to his murids, but to his sheikh he will be a murid. No matter how much he tries, he will not be able to reach that level of a sheikh kamil. He will always be the murid of sheikh, and the sheikh will be the sheikh to him, right? Now the reason for this is because no matter how much he progresses and how successful he becomes spiritually, he is progressing through the sadaqah and the sahara of the kamil sheikh. His progression, this is a ruhani discussion, and that's why I'm going a bit slow so we understand it properly. His progression, his excelling is because of the sadaqah and the sahara, the support, the spiritual support of his murshid. But while he is excelling, his murshid is excelling because of the sahara of his murshid. Samajh rahe baat aap? He is excelling because of the sahara of his kamil murshid. This is called becoming murid sadiq, where you don't ever think that I'm going to go beyond him. You always remember, no matter how much I try, he's always gone far beyond me. He's gone much ahead of me. So he will not understand. Now, let me give you another example for you to understand. Tonight I'm going to give you some examples. I've made some notes to remind myself and remind you. Tonight, alhamdulillah, is the Satwi Sharif, the eve of the 7th, which is the eve of the Urs of Huzur Tajushariah. The eve that Huzur Tajushariah left this dunya on the 7th. Okay? So, every month 7th is the eve of the Wisal of Huzur Tajushariah's Barkat, the Barkat and the Urs of that night Fatiha, right? So, since it's that, let me give you this example. Huzur Sayyidi Tajushariah radiallahu anh is our Murshad. Whether you're Murid of Huzur Tajushariah or Muhaddis Kabir, your phase is to both. Huzur Muhaddis Kabir said, my every Murid is Tajushariah's Murid. Tajushariah said, every my Murid is Muhaddis Kabir's Murid. So now we're going to talk about Tajushariah because Huzur Tajushariah has journeyed into the heavenly domain. Okay? So, Huzur Sayyidi Tajushariah radiallahu anh is our Murshad and our Shaykh Kamil. And remember, I'm reiterating the word Shaykh Kamil. A Kamil Murshad. Not these fellows who are making people stupid and saying that they are this and that. Don't read namaz, don't do nothing. And saying that we are taking the murids there. They say, bahut ponchela hua hai. No, he don't need to read and all. He reached, he's gone. Hazrat Junaid Baghdadi said, yes, such people reach the door of hell. Samajh rahe? Those who try to make the people stupid. So, Huzur Tajushariah radiallahu anhu is our Murshid, is our Shaykh Kamil. And the grand Muhaddis of this Zamana, Huzur Sayyidi Muhaddis Kabir, announced that Sayyidi Tajushariah is the grand Qutb of the Zamana. He announced that the Qutb of the Zamana, and the Qutb al-Afthab of all the Zamana is Ghawth. Whether anyone accepts this or not our problem. For us it is enough because it is the qawl of the Wali and the Sufi of the Zamana. Right? That Huzur Tajushariah is the Qutb al-Afthab of his Zamana. Now I want you to keep this in your mind and then think about how many murids Huzur Sayyidi Tajushariah got in the world. Right? Millions. And amongst those murids, how many thousands of them are ulama, mufassirin, muhaddiseen, mufakkirin, fuqaha? But did you ever hear any murid sadiq? I'm saying Shaykh Kamil and murid sadiq. Have you ever heard any true murid, a murid sadiq, saying that I have now reached that level of excellence that I have surpassed Tajushariah in Ruhaniyat? Ever heard anybody saying? No matter how big alim he is, no matter how big mufti is, no matter how big faqih is, he's a murid of Huzur Sayyidi Tajushariah, murid sadiq, he'll not say this. No murid sadiq will ever make such a statement. Only one who claims to be a murid will make such a claim and try to charter a path away from the path of the Murshid Kamil. That person is misled, he will end up gumrah. Remember and always remember, to intentionally oppose anything and any act against the Murshid Kamil is the most destructive zahre qatil. It is a poison that will take everything away from you. Okay? Now, so as I was saying, you will not find any murid sadiq will say that I am spiritually progressing and I am past that, surpassed the excellence of Huzur Sayyidi Tajushariah radiallahu anh, because he knows that whenever I progress, be it in deen, be it in dunya, be it in ruhaniya, it is to the sadqa and the sahara of Huzur Tajushariah that this is happening. Now subhanallah, one time subhanallah. Why I told you say subhanallah? Mercy of Allah, you glorifying Allah, planting one tree in Jannah, and what I'm going to tell you. Subhanallah, Sarkar Tajushariah radiallahu anh is that personality who is ascending the heights of wilayat through the sahara of his Murshid Kamil. Who is his Murshid Kamil? Hausul Waqt. Huzur Sayyidi wa Sanadi Sarkar Mufti Azam Hind radiallahu anh. And he is a Murid Sadiq, Sarkar Tajushariah. He is a Murid Sadiq of Sarkar Mufti Azam radiallahu anh. And thus, he even says that no matter how much I excel and progress, I will never reach the excellence of my Murshid, Sarkar Mufti Azam radiallahu anh. Why is he saying this? Why is he saying this? Because it is this which is the principle of Ruhaniyat. This is the protocol of Ruhaniyat. This is why Huzur Sayyidi Tajushariah radiallahu anh says, he says in humility, Ho sake ko dekh akhtar baag jannat mein use. Your Murshid, Mufti Azam, if possible, try to find him in the gardens of Jannat. If you try to find him in the other levels, you're not going to find him. Why? Ho sake to dekh akhtar baag jannat mein use. Wo gaye taro se aage aashiana chhodkar. Allah. You're not going to find him in the stars and in these different levels and galaxies. He's gone to Jannat if you can. Then when you get there, try and see him. If possible, Akhtar should see him in the gardens of paradise. He has gone beyond the stars, traversing the worldly abode, he departed. And after that, Huzur Tajushariah, what does he say? He says, Mufti Azam ka zarra kya bana Akhtar raza. Allah. This share is the discussion, is the essence of this discussion of Ruhaniyat. That you don't, all these Afthab and these awliya, when Gawth Pak was addressing them and telling them, when he was addressing them and telling them that maqamukum Allah jam'u walakin maqami fawqakum ma zala ali. When he was saying sharidtum fadlati min ba'di sukri wa naliltum uluwi wa ittisali. When he was saying faqultu li sa'ir al-aqtabi lumma bihali wadkhulu antum rijali. Gawth Pak radiyallahu anhu was saying this so that they even understand that when you humble yourself in the court of those whom Allah has given this maqam to, then you will be blessed in ruhaniyat and successful and get qurb ilahi once you are in the dunya and once you leave the dunya also. You will receive a level of excellence here and a greater level of excellence there. That is why Huzur Tajushariah says, Mufti Azam ka zarra kya bana Akhtar raza mahfil anjum Akhtar dusra milta nahi. What does he say? Not even a speck of Mufti Azam could Akhtar raza become. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Look what he became. Not even a speck of Mufti Azam could Akhtar raza become. And the galaxy of the stars, O Akhtar, a star like him cannot be found. Akhtar means star. Okay? So he says a very high star. He says Mahfile Anjum. Mahfile Anjum is the galaxy of the stars. He says even in the galaxy of the stars, if you look, you will not find somebody like Mufti Azam. This is how far he's gone. Now I want you to keep this which I just mentioned to you in your mind. And then let's ask ourselves a simple question. Sayyidi Tajushariah radiallahu anhu excelled. He progressed through Huzur Mufti Azam Hind radiallahu anhu. Through whom did he excel and progress? Through Huzur Mufti Azam radiallahu anhu. He spiritually excelled. He progressed through Huzur Mufti Azam radiallahu anhu. And Huzur Mufti Azam spiritually excelled and is excelling. He spiritually excelled and he is excelling through his Shaykh Kamil, Hazrat Sayyidina Abul Hussain Ahmad Noori al-Mahravi radiallahu ta'ala. And through the barakat and the fuyuz of his beloved father, Mujaddid Deen o Millat Sayyidi Ala Hazrat Azimul Barakat radiallahu anhu. So Sarkar Tajushariah is excelling through the support and the sahara of Hazrat Sarkar Mufti Azam. And Sarkar Mufti Azam is excelling through the support and the sahara of Sayyidi Abul Hussain Ahmad Noori radiallahu anhu. And Sarkar Abul Hussain Ahmad Noori radiallahu anhu is also excelling and progressing through the ruhani support and the sahara of Hazrat Sayyidina Ali Rasul Maharervi radiallahu. So this is a chain of ruhaniyat. This is what Gawth Pak is telling all the Aftabs. This is what we need to understand when we speak about Sarkar Gawth Pak radiallahu ta'ala, that each of them is excelling through their Shaykh, but all of them are excelling together through Sarkar Gawth Pak radiallahu ta'ala. None of them can do this without Gawth Pak. This is the discussion. Maqamukum jam'u walakin maqami fawqakum ma zala ali. Now Gawth Pak radiallahu ta'ala an Imamul Awliya, and he is not only just the Pir, you must remember. Gawth Pak is not just Pir. Gawth Pak is Pirane Pir. Gawth Pak is Pirane Pir. Piro ke aap Pir hai ya Ghaus al-Madad. What Tajushariah said. Piro ke aap Pir hai. What was he saying? He is Pirane Pir. He is the Pir of all the Pirs. That is why each one is excelling by his Shaykh. And every one of them is excelling by Sarkar Gawth Pak radiyallahu ta'ala. That is why maqamukum la jam'u walakin maqami fawqakum ma dhala ali. Now the Gawth Pak radiallahu ta'ala is reminding them, and he's telling all the Aftabs, see, when you're in this ruhani condition, in humble, simple terms I'm explaining to you, you are flying. You are soaring into the heights of ruhaniyat, you're flying. And Sarkar Gawth Pak is saying to them that no matter how high you fly, Abdul Qadir is going to fly higher. No matter how high you fly, Abdul Qadir is going to fly higher because you are all my devotees. You are all my murids. For even the maqam qutbiyat which you have attained, he's reminding them, is because of me. So that is why Ala Hadrat Azimul Barkat radhiyallahu anhu says, तुझसे दहर के अक्ताब से क्या निस्बत, तुझसे और दहर के अक्ताब से क्या निस्बत, कुतुब कौन है, खादिम तेरा, चेला तेरा. Now, to further, last night I explained to you something, and I'm going to continue, and I'm going to end in this. Before I give you my last 5-10 minutes of advice on Aqidah, whole Taqreer is Aqidah, but I'm reminding you every night. Last night we spoke about Hazrat Sayyidina Shaykh Suwaid al-Bukhari, radiyallahu anhu, and we learned something very important. I'm giving you these deep discussions on the Rohani and the condition of Sarkar-e-Ghaus Pak amongst all the awliya Allah, but at the same time, if you noticed every night, I try to give you one waqia also that is attached to it, and something that you'll learn some simple lesson from, but very important lesson. So I explained last night about Sayyidina Shaykh Suwaid al-Bukhari, and how a person who used to make nukta chini, he used to pick on the other awliya of the past. What happened to him? He couldn't read his kalima on his deathbed. Until the awliya Allah did not forgive him, he could not read the kalima. And even to get the forgiveness of those awliya, he needed a wali. He needed a wali. And I told you that Shaykh Suwaid al-Bukhari, what he said about Sarkar-e-Ghaus Pak. Now let me tell you one other beautiful narration about Hazrat Ghaus Pak. Very short. But it is about a very pious servant of Almighty Allah, Hazrat Sayyidina Shaykh Musa bin Mahin al-Mardini az-Zuli. Okay, radiyallahu ta'ala an, who is famously known as Shaykh Musa Zuli, radiyallahu ta'ala an, some say Zoli. Hazrat Musa Zuli radiyallahu an is from amongst the very great mashayikh. And time doesn't permit to give you a brief rundown on each of their lives that we talk about. But he was from amongst the grand mashayikh and great imams of his zamana. Now let me tell you something about him. And then we'll tell you what he said about Ghaus Pak. And you will understand that statement even more. Maqamakum Al-Azam walakin maqami fawqakum ma zala ali. That Ghaus Pak said it, but the awliya repeated it when it came to the shan of Ghaus Pak. That we can't come anywhere near that. Okay? So, about Hazrat Sayyidina Musa Zuli radiallahu anhu, let me tell you that it is mentioned that one day this one lady came to him. A woman came to him and she brought her child. And she said to him, Sayyidi, this is my child. He's 4 months old. How many months? 4 months old. Keep that in your mind. He is 4 months old. So, Shaykh Zuli radiallahu anhu called him, and the child, 4 months old. How many months? 4 months. Started running towards him. Allah. You saw 4-month-old running. Even the 4-month-old knows the hukum of Allah's wali. I want you to understand. You must understand not just the top. Understand what is beneath that also. A mother takes a child 4 months old in the court of Hazrat Sayyidina Imam Musa Zuli radiallahu anh, and he calls the child, and the child starts running. 4-month-old child is running, is racing towards that pious servant of Allah. Then Hazrat Sayyidina Imam Musa Zuli radiallahu anh reads the first verse. Qul huwallahu ahad. Reads the first verse of Surah Ikhlas and says to the child, 4 months, you read with me? Recite with me? The 4-month-old baby, when he hears Hazrat Musa Zuli says, read Qul huwallahu ahad, the 4-month-old reads the entire Surah Ikhlas. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. This is wilayat. Why I'm telling you this? This is wilayat. But this wilayat he got because of Abdul Qadir Ji. Understand? So the 4-month-old reads the whole Surah Ikhlas with complete clarity and fluency, eloquence, like how an adult will do it. I want you to keep this word in your mind, how an adult would. After this, that child started to, after that day, he walked and he spoke like all the older children. From that 4 months old, he continued like this. Right? The narrator says, of this narrative says, I saw that child touch 30 years after Sheikh Musa made Wisal. I saw that child who was at 4 months at that time again. 30 years after Sheikh Musa Zuli radiallahu anhu made Wisal, and I found he was still conversing with the same fluency and eloquence that he spoke on that day in front of Hazrat Musa Zuli radiallahu anhu. Have you understood what this means? You understand what this means? Let me tell you. I'm sure you did, but let me tell you. 30 years after the Wisal of Sayyidina Sheikh Musa Zuli, this narrator says that I found that boy, who was a little 4-month-old, he was speaking at that time with that fluency and excellence and eloquence which he spoke at 4 months old in the presence of Hazrat Musa Zuli by his hukum. You know what that means? It means that that which he was supposed to do at that time, he was doing it from 4 months old. Samajh rahe baat? He was doing it from then. Isliye koi fark nahi aaya. That is why it was the same, because at 4 months he was speaking that which the adults at that time used to speak. Samajh rahe? So, this is a karamat of Sayyidina Sheikh Musa Zuli radiallahu anhu. Now let me end today by telling you what happened. What Musa Zuli radiallahu anhu said. Sheikh Yahya bin Sa'adullah Hussain Tikriti. Sheikh Yahya bin Sa'adullah Hussain Tikriti alayhi rahmah, he says, after performing Hajj, and when Sheikh Musa Zuli went to Baghdad, Hazrat Sayyidina Yahya bin Sa'adullah is saying that after performing Hajj, and when Sheikh Musa Zuli once went to Baghdad after his Hajj, my father and I accompanied him. Our khush nasibi, we went with him. So, my father he went to meet Sheikh Sayyid Abdul Qadir. Okay? And we observed that he met and greeted him with immense respect. Who? Sayyidina Musa Zuli. Very great adab, very great respect. When he went, after he came from Hajj, he went to meet Sarkar-e-Gawth. He's saying that my father and I went, we saw this. And we have never seen him show this high honor and respect in the court of anybody before. Sayyidina Musa Zuli treated everybody well. But this what he was showing in Gawth Pak's court was something else. So he said, when we were alone with him, with Sayyidina Sheikh Musa Zuli radiallahu anhu, my father asked him, I have never seen you show such adab and honor to that level before anyone as you have shown to Sheikh Abdul Qadir radiallahu anhu. Hazrat Sayyidina Imam Musa Zuli replies, in this time, Sheikh Abdul Qadir is better than all of those alive. He is better than all of those that are alive, and he is the Sultanul Awliya and he is the Sayyidul Arifin. He is the Sultanul Awliya and he is the Sayyidul Arifin. And he said, why shouldn't I honor and respect that Zat, that personality who is honored and respected by the Malaika? Why shouldn't I honor and respect? You remember when Gawth Pak was a little child, and when he used to go to madrasa, kya hota tha? The Malaika used to go to Sarkar-e-Gawth Pak, and they used to say, when Gawth Pak was asked, how did you know that Allah had gave you this blessed maqam? He said, when I was a little boy, and I used to go to madrasa, I used to see the Malaika walking with me, and used to say, give way to the wali of Allah. Give way to the wali. So Hazrat Sayyidina Imam Musa Zuli radiallahu anhu saying, मैं क्यों ऐसे ज़ात और ऐसे शख्सियत का अदब ना करूं जिससे ये अदब जो है मलाइका करते हैं. No? Can you understand this maqam of Sarkar-e-Gawth Pak? That is why he was commanded from the court of Allah with ilham to say, whatever is in that Qasida Gawthiyah is ilham. He said on the command of Allah that maqamukum Allah jam'a walakin maqami fawqakum ma zala alay. And Sarkar-e-Ala Hazrat says about this also, subhanallah, in another beautiful kalam of his, he says, tera zarra mahe kamil hai ya Gawth. Tera zarra mahe kamil hai ya Gawth. Tera qatra yame sa'il hai ya Gawth. Koi salik hai ya wasil hai ya Gawth. Koi salik hai ya wasil hai ya Gawth. Wo kuch bhi ho, tera sa'il hai ya Gawth. Subhanallah, subhanallah. Oh Gawth, your single dust particle is like the perfect moon's illumination. Your single dust particle is like the perfect full moon's illumination. Oh Gawth, your single drop to your mendicant is a flowing ocean. कि वो कुछ भी हो तेरा साइल है या गौस. So, oh Ghaus, someone comes as a seeker. What is telling us? Al-Hazrat, if someone comes to your Ghaus Pak as a seeker while another has a strong connection, or Ghaus, whatever he may be, he is your beggar, to you is his connection. In reality, everything is through your barakat, through your fuyuz. So that is why Ala Hazrat Azimul Barakat radhiyallahu anhu, if you want to read, they say, without comparison, if you want to read a good book, you must take the advice of a good author for understanding purpose, without comparison, without tamsil. If you want to read Ghaus Pak in this zamana, read with the eyes of Allah Hazrat. Read with the eyes of Huzur Mufti Azam. Read with the eyes of Tajushariah. Read with the eyes of Muhaddis al-Kabir. Read with their sight. Read with the sight of what Mahbub Ilahi saw in Ghaus Pak. Read with the vision of what Khaja Garibun Nawaz saw in Ghaus Pak, radiyallahu anhu. If you do this, then that love, the more you go towards it, the faster it will come towards you. If we understand this, then we have understand up to now whatever we have discussed. And to end, again, reminder, Surah Kulliyat is spreading like wildfire, everywhere. People are forgetting how important it is to protect their iman. People are becoming too lost in the dunya and the politic of the dunya. And they are too busy worrying about how we're going to survive in this dunya. But we tend to forget. We know it, but we forget that the survival of the dunya is not about wealth and power, it's about iman. Because if you protect your iman, then better than this dunya is your akhirat. We are all going to go. All of us, everybody is going to go, nobody is going to stay. But that moment when you leave the world is the most important moment. When you're about to leave, that is the most important moment. How are you going to leave? With the iman or without the iman? We all make dua that Allah takes us with iman. But to go with iman, you must protect the iman. You cannot go with something that you don't have or you don't value or you don't realize. It is time for people to wake up and realize that the enemies of Islam are plotting day and night. While we are sleeping in our warm bed, they are planning against Islam. They are planning against the Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah. They are planning against the Ushaq of Rasulullah, the Ashiks of Rasulullah. So we have to keep our guard up all the time. That is why Allah Hazrat said, Suna jangal raat andheri chai badli kali hai, sone wale jaagte rahiyo choro ki rakhwali hai. That is why he said. So keep this in your mind, hold firm, even our young children, all our youngsters, our children, hold tight. Don't have friends who are bad mazhabs. A normal associate, certain things, people are forced to have an associate to do business or whatever. Even that, try to save yourself to the best of ability. But don't give respect to those who don't give respect to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You rather have a friend who is a beggar and he sleeps in a trash box, but his heart is Medina, than having a friend who stays in a mountain and his heart is full of kina against Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Okay? Make healthy choices. When you make healthy choices for your body will give you what you need. And when you make healthy choices for your deen, your iman will give you what you need. Keep this in mind. Allah keep us with iman. Let us leave this world with iman. Those that are ill in our community, Allah grant them shifa. Again, special dua for Huzur Sayyidi Muhaddis al-Kabir, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives Hazrat shifa kamil sehat ajil. And inshallah Al-Azim, I will inform you tomorrow again after we communicate and see how Hazrat is doing. We'll continue making dua for Hazrat and for Huzur Qaid Millat also. Always make dua that Allah gives him long life and keeps him amongst us always. And special dua for anybody else who asked me to make dua for them. All those who requested dua for all of them. Keep the dua going for the Sunni Muslims of Palestine and wherever else the Sunni Muslims are going through difficulty. May Allah make it easy for them.